Hey everybody, Cinephile Mike is here, and it is episode 22 of Oscar Rewind Season 2, my bi-weekly series of videos when I drop every Tuesday and Friday, where I revisit the films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. We dig deep into those IMDb profiles and try to find that earlier piece of work, and my hope is that you will discover a new, older favorite, or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. As always, I'll be discussing the Oscar connection, the awards history for this respective film, box office information, critical response, and as always, these reviews here are spoiler free. Now, before I jump in, please do me a favor, click that subscribe button, like the video. There's so much more good stuff coming up on Rewind and also on the YouTube channel that I can't quite talk about yet that you don't want to miss. I got some good stuff coming. But for now, we're here for Rewind. We are in Actor Month for the month of May. We're looking at the earlier work of this past year's Best Lead and Supporting Performers. We've looked at all the winners. Now we're looking at the nominees. We only have a couple left before I switch topics for the month of June. But today I'm going to discuss 20th Century Fox's slick thriller Bad Times at the El Royale. Written and directed by Drew Goddard, whose previous film, The Cabin in the Woods, was also a lot of fun. The film was released in the fall of 2018. Not widely seen, shocking given the stacked cast in this, the film only made $17,839,115 domestically, with an additional $14,043,609 internationally, for a worldwide total of $31,882,724. Now, critically, the film is certified fresh, and actually, that rarity, from 260 critic reviews and over 5,000 audience scores, the popcorn meter and the critical rating are exactly the same, a fresh 75%. And now the film lands on Rewind, and I'm sure you're saying, Mike, 2018's not that long ago. Well, Bad Times at the El Royale marks the feature film debut of the so-called Wicked One herself, Miss Cynthia Erivo, featured here in that poster. After a successful run in the revival of The Color Purple on Broadway, winning many, many awards, which, ah, quick side story. I saw The Color Purple revival when it was in previews. I was so excited for Jennifer Hudson and Danielle Brooks, who were both great. I had never heard of Cynthia Erivo, but when she sang, I remember that standing ovation she got in the middle of Act Two, and I said, that's a star. Anyway, all right, I'm back. Since then, in less than 10 years, Erivo now currently has 3 Oscar nominations under her belt. Her first 2 were in the same year, about 5 years ago in 2020, for the movie Harriet. She was nominated for Best Actress for the role of Harriet Tubman, and she also wrote the original song Stand Up that was used in the film, which earned her a Best Original Song nomination that she shared with Joshua Bryan Campbell. And this year she got number 3 for Defying Gravity as Elphaba in Wicked Part 1. As for Bad Times, the El Royale's award season, it wasn't much. There were many varied performers in the film and behind the scenes folk who were nominated by various guilds and film festivals and different things. Its most nominations were actually at the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. It had 4 nominations and 1 win. So it was nominated for Best Actor for Jeff Bridges, Best Supporting Actor for Lewis Pullman, Erivo for Best Supporting Actress, and Goddard was nominated for Best Writing. And it won the award for Best Thriller Film of the Year. So what is this one about? Well, the El Royale is a once famous hotel that straddles the border of Nevada and California. And it was the place to be until they lost their gambling license. When guests arrive at the El Royale, they can choose whether they want to stay in California or Nevada. And as our film first starts, we are in 1959 and we are quickly witness to a gruesome murder. We see bank robber Felix O'Kelly, played by Nick Offerman, who checks into the El Royale, buries a bag of money in the floorboards under the bed, and sits and waits before one of his accomplices comes and shoots him dead in cold blood. Then, without getting a lot of information, we jump forward a decade. It is now 1969, and the El Royale is about to have quite the guest list checking in. First up, we have vacuum salesman Laramie Seymour Sullivan, a scenery chewing John Hamm, Father Daniel Flynn, a traveling priest played by the wonderful Jeff Bridges, young hippie Emily Summerspring, played by the dry humored Dakota Johnson, which really works for her here, and lounge singer Darlene Sweet, played by Arrivo. Now, upon checking in and through an awkward introduction, they are addressed by the hotel's lone employee, the manager, and maid, and waiter, and other things. Played in an early career move by the now potentially future what's going to happen with him in the MCU. Thank you, Thunderbolts or New Avengers. Lewis Pullman. Now, as we follow each member to their respective rooms, we see almost all of them have a hidden agenda for why they are here. I mean, one actually begins ripping up the floorboards looking for something. Another one begins to find and collect wiretaps that are all over the room. Another one is mysteriously putting up mattresses all over the room as if to cover sound. Another one mysteriously backs their car up to their room door. When they open that trunk, they pull out a young woman who has been taken hostage. The young woman in question, played by Kaylee Spaney. And while all of this is happening through a series of events, we learn that this is also maybe not the most private hotel, as we see that mirrors have multiple purposes. As things progress, dramatic actions will take place that may result in everyone not making it out of the El Royale by the time the last frame goes, especially when the sweet and sociopathic cult leader, Billy Lee, played by a hip swinging, balls to the wall delight, scary delight by Chris Hemsworth, once he arrives and, he wants one of his faithful to come back. Yeah. Hellfire and brimstone will rain down, and past loyalties and issues of morality will all out, especially to Father Flynn, who may not be the savior that everyone wants him to be. Now, here's what I'm going to say. If that sounds like a lot, it is. And oftentimes, and for those of you that have followed me, heard when the film gets so complicated, it tends to take me out of it. Not this one. It is a little longer. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it maybe could have used a little editing, but I will say Goddard is really good at addressing everything he needs to do and giving each of his characters a journey or an explanation about what's happening to them. And while some stick around longer than others, the ones that aren't around as long, you're still invested in them. This film is literally the living embodiment. Like, if you were to look up neo-noir thriller in the dictionary, you would probably find this movie poster right there. There are outstanding performances by the entire ensemble. Every actor fully understood the assignment. You could tell that they were all probably really enjoying what they were doing. Within this ensemble, the real standouts for me are Hemsworth and Arrivo. Hemsworth is an unhinged delight, not shocking, giving his penchant for comedy, which he should really lead into more. And yet, there are times when he really gets to kind of play these two sides of the coin because of the role that he has. So that's really good. Arrivo, I'm shocking. This was her first recorded film performance, but she's absolutely infectious. And there are a couple of scenes where she gets to perform because she is a lounge singer, and the musical numbers, like they did in Wicked or Les Mis, her singing was captured live on film. So we hear one musical performance, which is just, so wonderful because it's just an acapella of her and vocals. You gotta see it. Johnson is strong as the hippie with conviction, even if her, usual one-tone vocal quality, it works here. I'm a fan of hers. Quick plug, if you haven't seen the movie Daddy, the 1-2, with just her and Sean Penn, excellent film, came out last year. But she's also very good in this. That dryness that she has, works. Pullman, also good early career move between this and the Stranger sequel, Pray at Night. He had both come out in the year, so that was a nice introduction for him. He was maybe a little miscast in this because given what the role required, I think he might have been a little too young to pull it off, but he does make it work. And, as we learn what's brought him here, we're fine with it. Technically, huge shout out to production designer Martin Wist for this hotel that I wish were real, and if it were, I would go and stay there. Art directors Michael Diner and Lisa Van Velden, set decorator Hamish Purdy. I mean, oh, the colors and like you can even see from the poster, it's that slick. And there's a commentary that I watched where they talked about what happens to the hotel and when they were getting to the end of the film, and oh, it's a little heartbreaking, but makes so much sense when you understand the context and appreciate all the elements that went into creating that set. That Time at the El Royale was one of my top films. It might have been my number one film of 2018. I'd have to go back and double check. And while it's not a perfect film, it is a well-made, strong 4 out of 5 star film for me. So, if what I've said here intrigues you, or you have been meaning to catch up on this one, and now I've inspired you to do so, as of this recording and posting, your only options are to rent or purchase it on pretty much any digital platform. There is no streaming information available this time. All right. So there you have it. We only have 2 more coming up in Actor Month in May before we move on in June. If you like what you heard here, please, again, click that subscribe button, like and share the video. Just drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about the film. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and find lots of great additional content on my website, cinephilemike.com, including some great, I'm going to put that out next week. All right, everybody. Until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.